Okay, I think it's recording now.
Got
I
it.
think,
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah, perfect. And it'll just, I think, save to your computer right after. I
Okay.
did a bunch of these for a PSA I did.
Oh.
And yeah. Um, because I lived in Chinatown, and especially when COVID hit, I just
Mm-hmm.
worked for 8 years, and I definitely like felt a shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then I have family, from all different socioeconomic classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to interview them because a lot of them were business owners, like restaurant workers and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
connected to a bunch of amazing Asian people in New York. And so I would find them on Zoom, and then I would record their
Mm-hmm.
interview. Yeah. And then
Yeah, I think I like saw an interview where you talked about like the initiative and everything that you did, which is so important, especially
yeah,
like during the height of everything. Like,
that was definitely for me, everybody has like their awakening. I don't think like, political activism doesn't come maybe naturally to like everybody, but
mm-hmm.
that, and certainly for me, I think I've always been like loud politically and things like that, but I have never been as motivated as I was during that time, I will say.
Mm-hmm. It
You know,
was horrible.
it
Like
was,
it still is so bad, but like
I know,
at the
no,
height of it all, like
no, it was crazy. Where were you?
still in Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I
I
think it was like every other day we'd like hear news. And I'm
which
like,
Boston is such a big college town, which means that there's like a growing Asian population, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
very, very difficult. Um, yeah, so that was definitely how I was like, all right, I'm gonna become a Zoom professional because I was
As you
like,
should.
yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta call this shit out and like talk to more people and spread the word
I
because
know. So everybody hopped on Zoom, and that was really cool. Yeah. And I even interviewed like an NYU professor too that I had
oh my
never been able
gosh.
to take, but she really does like she studies literally like Asian Americans in politics, and like
Oh wow.
and I met a professor that does like disease and minorities, like that
Uh-huh.
section. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
I want to hear everything. So basically they would just give me a free lecture. I'd be like, oh my God, tell me everything.
Yeah. So I'm a student again.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. And
Yeah.
listen, I couldn't, I would like sit in class and I'd be like, oh my God, especially during
Yeah.
history or whatever. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, I've like loved being a student again. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, God, I could never find that when I was in school. Because I think there was a pressure to perform. So like so I was
Mm-hmm.
focused on being like, what do I need to know to like excel? Like what is like the least amount of effort that I need to do to like really get the result that I want to get, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
being there for the sake of learning.
No, yeah. I feel like there's just that mentality of when you're in school and you're forced to do something, you just don't want to do it. Like you just want to rebel. But
You
like
literally,
once you're like, you can do whatever you want. Okay, let me read a book. Let me
yeah, and you're like,
learn something new.
where you want to learn how to do something. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my boyfriend, and he was like, oh yeah, like I feel like I am constantly going to YouTube University. You can literally learn how
Yeah.
to do anything on YouTube.
Oh yeah, my mom learned how to replace a broken phone screen. She like replaced my brother's broken iPhone screen and I was like, "How?"
That's amazing and so resourceful. And also just
Yeah.
the confidence of moms to be like, how hard can it really
Yeah.
be?
She
If I
literally
have to
sat
go to
there,
the
cleared
mall
everything.
and pay $500 to some boy who like I don't
Yeah.
trust, I can do it.
Yeah. No,
Amazing.
I think she definitely learned because my sister broke her phone and she like paid one of these people at the malls to fix it. And not even a week later, it like basically was like done.
She was like, I can do this.
Yeah, she's like, I can do this. Cleared the entire living room table. She's like,
How much
no one's
are you
coming near
charging me?
me.
I know. She's like, how much are you
Yeah.
charging me? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
basically. And I was like, good for you. I
They
could
love a
never.
bargain too. They're like, I will not pay for anything I can do
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so tell me
Yeah.
about this project, like what you need,
Okay.
like if you have
So
stuff.
basically, it's like my public speaking class. So there's just like a couple points that I have to touch in terms of like communication. But like everything else, they're like, you can talk about whatever you want. I just
Okay.
need to see you talking. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh,
But
no, it's
yeah,
scary. Yeah.
it is
Okay.
so scary. But
I
like,
know.
I was so surprised. I was like, oh, you're gonna do it. I was just like, this is a long shot. Might as well text people,
No, I'm
DM
happy
people.
to. I'm happy to.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So why don't you ask me those questions about the
Okay.
communication stuff so we make sure that we get it, and then
Okay.
and you can go off from there.
Okay. Let me go to that section. Okay. So like the first one is, how did having good communication help you land the roles that you've gotten thus far in your career? And how did being vocal about what you wanted help shape how the characters turned out?
Okay. Both very good questions. That have really good like lessons inside of them, I feel. Okay, so good communication is essential to being an actor because all we have is the text, right? And we're communicating something that hopefully on our best days illuminates something about humanity that we all understand, we can connect on, and we can understand more deeply. So coming from a very heavily text-based art form is my job. I'm supposed to take somebody else's words, somebody else's language, and communicate their thoughts and ideas. Because essentially I'm just a vessel, and I'm that vehicle for them to get what's on the page out on screen or out onto a stage. So in that sense, it's kind of the first base of what I do. So that's just to answer that first question. And the second question, how did I use communication while on set to better like sort of relay my character? Oh my gosh, in so many levels of that. I believe in general, in my personhood, I believe in saying and calling in and calling out what you want. If you want something in your life, or if you are finding something that you really love, you have to say that out loud. I believe in manifestation is so real, as like in the cheesiest form and in the most serious form, in the most prayer-like form, it is real.
Speaking it into existence. It's
Exactly. So for example, like if you don't ask me, would I be willing to, then you don't know, right? And you were thinking about before, I'm thinking about who are the people I really want to hear from on this thing, because whatever they're saying, whatever I'm saying, or whatever I am, we are aligned in some way. You're finding an alignment, and I feel like a great first step is calling that out, is listening, is saying, you know what, I really liked this conversation. To your brain, without you saying it, your brain is going to subconsciously look for other conversations that are just like this one. And so I believe that's important in your life in general, especially as Asian women. I think there are some assumptions made about us, and the more vocal we are, the more those things are going to come to us. Because a lot more of the world assumes that we are satisfied, or that we are passive. And that's why it's yours for the taking, in my opinion. It's like, oh my God, once you learn how to call in and say what you want, like doors will come flying open for you. And sometimes not the exact one that you want, right? It's like, oh, I want an Oscar. Sometimes not that exact door will fly open, but if you listen, and it's like, you imagine like a pond, you have to be able to listen to like a pebble drop in. You have to get really quiet with yourself and say, oh my gosh, somebody just said that there's an acting class. I'm going to go take it. Just be a yes man. Also, I think with communication, with calling it in, you also have to be open to receive and say yes. So that's like my thoughts on that in general. Now, when I take it to a set or take it into a workplace to create a character, I'm a person who loves reading, who is very, very familiar with language. A lot of my training had just come from text, and to begin with was heavily Shakespeare based,
Because you
which is
went to NYU.
exactly, which was in a different time period, a different white man, a different set of societal expectations, norms, cultures, blah, blah. I'm entering into his brain and 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 figuring out that his message is right on top of the text. He says everything's explicit, nothing's implicit, nothing's underneath, you know. Very, very cool. So I care about language, whether it's a TV show, whether it's this, whether it's that, any book, right, that you pick up, even a cover will tell you what kind of tone. Will this be a beach read? Will this be a biography? Will this be a serious book? What tone it'll be? So I know that going into a show, my character is a part of that mosaic, right? To complete that. I take every episode and I've got an amazing coach in New York City. His name is Ted Sluberski, and he's the smartest man I know. But he helps me really analyze. And if I'm not the main character, right, I still have a journey in every episode and in every season of television. I'm just using this as an example because it was my last role. And where I'm heading and what is the strongest choices I can make so that not every scene is the same. Because even if I, Nicole, am every scene at a computer or doing something or a doctor or this, to me, I'm like, what have I not mined out of this? What have I not done before? What can I reveal about my internal life and how I've changed and evolved as the season evolves? Because, you know, I didn't know at the beginning that I was going to become Poison Ivy, but because I was mining as much as I could out of Mary, suddenly when it makes sense, and they're like, well, I don't know, can we give this to her? Is this something she can handle? Well, now you have 50 other episodes of me really going after it, you know?
To back up like everything that you
Doing
can and will be it, you know?
And that's what happens to fan favorite characters, to a lot of TV shows that respond to audience. Like that relationship is really alive, you know, where there are other shows where the text is the Bible, and like, especially David Fincher, he has a vision from beginning to end, doesn't care what anyone thinks of it, right? Boom. So it is about communication because it is a collaborative art form. One cannot exist without the other. If the DP walks off, then we don't have a TV show. And I really go into it because I also come from the theater. So, you know, it starts with the director and all of the actors, whether you have 1 line or 100 lines, right? Whether you're Iago or like the second, you know, helper from the left, you all sit in a circle at the beginning of rehearsal together in a circle. It's so equal. And we read it alive and we feel how it's real. We have a dramaturg to set this play or this story into perspective, all of those things. So my Bible was Batman and the Batwoman comics. What comics are we coming from? It's my job to educate myself on the George Rucker comics, you know. DC Comics, they were so generous and they gave us all of that material for free. I find that it is literally my job to suddenly become educated in the world that I'm entering.
Yeah, because you have to be one in the character.
Exactly.
You have to know what's going on.
And I want to know what set I'm walking into. Now, if there's something that I don't agree with, or a scene, or this, or a character trait, we get a lot of different drafts throughout. So I'm also not a procrastinator. So I think it's really important that as soon as you get a first draft, though I'm not called to set yet, if I want to be in that collaborative process, that's where I have to jump in and I have to read and I have to understand where we're going to, even if I'm shooting an episode behind. So if I don't agree or if I have questions, I usually mark it up. I mark up a script and I have questions, and literally sometimes it comes down to the word. Like I am so specific about word choice. I'm probably, you know, whatever. I'm probably a writer's worst nightmare.
No, but like it's true, because certain words, like, you know, your character the best out of anyone, other than the writer, but like you know what they're gonna say.
And I will say at first though, I do my best to justify what is on the page. I'm like, ooh, why would she be using that word? She's trying to stick it to someone. Is she trying to impress somebody with this term? Is she trying to cover the fact that she's smart? Is she trying to act dumb? I definitely like try and justify it, but usually it'll come to like character choices or like, okay, so the villain just did this. I don't know in one scene if I can 360 and now I can be buddy buddy with them. Could you give me more information on what happens with me or why I would be more motivated to ally myself with her rather than put up a fight again? Or, hey, I thought me and Ryan, the Ryan character, the Batwoman character, we fought. And I understand that you need to create tension for the show, but I feel like we made up. I feel like in the next scene, I don't have to go after her so hard. What do you think? Well, I think Mary has to harbor that because eventually it turns into a huge fight between Batwoman and Poison Ivy. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I feel like you have to ask those questions, because when you're acting and you just don't have these questions answered, you might act out of character or like a way that you didn't expect you were going to act, and it's going to show on screen.
Yes, and I don't want to do anything half-ass. I don't want to half-ass have an argument if the argument is written and it's a full argument. I don't want to half-ass being in love with somebody if blah blah blah. I don't have that. But once I know that, I feel like I can just like release all of my inhibitions and really go after it. And it's like enter this space in which boom, all of a sudden I don't know what's gonna happen. And that's really the fun part for me in those 30 seconds that I get that between action and cut. Somebody said something brilliant, that it really matters, that all that matters is the space between action and cut, and not cut and action.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, whoa, that's deep.
I know.
Hold on.
So I guess that answers that. So, one helps the other. If you're communicating in your real life, then it'll only help you communicate better when it comes to your art and your character and things like that. Because those are things that I am still to this day working on in my personal life to be able to communicate and understand and get myself across and do those things, especially, oh my gosh, public speaking or speaking on, Asian hate crimes and things during COVID. Like that was something that I've never done before. And all of a sudden I'm on a Zoom just very much like this. And I'm speaking on to a news anchor. So, what is that? How do I want to come off? And what exactly do I want to say? And I have to say it in a very concise format.
Because it's such a limited amount of time. And I feel like, as you were saying earlier, because we're like Asian women, there is a stereotype, and we kind of have to break that stereotype, and it's going to take a while, but we just got to do that one step, take that one step and just go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that sort of answers that.
Definitely.
Good.
And then when you're in talks for potential projects, like just talking about the characters or like contract negotiations in general, what do you usually like offer or suggest during those meetings?
Well, as an actor, it's so funny because we are always auditioning, so we're kind of sort of usually the victim of their choice of somebody else's hard. So a lot of this is luck, honestly. Like, oh my gosh, like if I told somebody like how you want to be an actor, how somebody got my career, it's very, very hard. It's like the right time, the right place, the right time, the right project, right? So, but when I discuss with my team, I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, I definitely have roles that I feel like I've done, so I want to try something else, or I want to stay away from since I've done that network and that thing, so I want to try something else. Movies, people's collaborators that I would want to work with in the future, things like that, in order to get me ultimately a project that doesn't exist yet, right, in the future. I think what's important to me is that I have a long career. I want to stay an actor, which to me, the things that are in my control in that are not what I'm going to be cast in, but how sharp my tools and my toolbox are. So I kind of am just like, I keep things sharp as I can, and I control what I can control. And sometimes that means that I have to be the shepherd of my own story. So if I want to tell a story that I don't see, then either I have got to write it, or I've got to find it. And that's kind of what my job is when I'm not working, is meeting those people.
Talking about that, I know you created a few shorts.
Yes.
How is filmmaker Nicole Kang doing in terms of that aspect of
She's
everything?
doing very, very well. So funny. So I did the short because it was born out of a one-woman show that I did that I kind of made more narrative. It was a one-woman show that I performed on the Lower East Side, that all the time, that was my own country music, Patsy Cline, with like a band that I know and love in New York, and also slam poetry. Very, very strange, but like very avant-garde. I feel like very new. Every New Yorker or New York actor has a one-woman show, I feel like.
Definitely.
And so that was really fun. And I then wanted to say something about the situation, about what was happening, but I wasn't in New York, and I I could edit all of these Zoom interviews together, but I needed an editor. And what I didn't know how to do best is I was talking to somebody who works for Scooter Braun's company. Gosh, what is his name? He's Korean actually, but he told me, he was like, Nicole, you are an actor and you're in something narrative. Why don't you make something narrative? And I was like, okay. So I did that, and that was Lonely Child, and that was my first thing. I learned a lot. It was very, very hard. I actually just found out that it'll be premiering in New York at a film festival called Tide Festival, started by Julie Kim, who is a Korean adoptee. And she's an amazing, amazing champion for artists in New York, and especially Asian artists. She's awesome. You should interview her. There was a film called Blue Bayou that shed light on Korean adoptees, actually, that was made by filmmaker and writer Justin Chon. And Julie was actually his reference. She really helped him craft that script. So that's who she is. I feel like she's somebody who really sees me and really wants to elevate and shed light on my work and really understands my piece. So I'm really excited to finally share that, and I'm happy, to send that to you. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And then what's next actually is I've written another script, I'm developing it, and right now I'm shopping it around to see. Got some offers to create and develop a TV show, and some offers to create it as a feature film. So that's all really, really exciting and kind of crazy, but it would be an almost entirely all Asian cast with 2 Asian male leads, one Chinese American and one is a Korean immigrant. Characters that are bi-accidentally intersectional based on the people that they love and the ethnicities that they sort of born into. It's just so fun and great, but it's not an immigrant story. It's not, it's about people that are our age, that are living in America, that are starting businesses, that are failing, that are lying to their parents, but not in a really kitschy way that's like, oh, like I'm disappointed in you as your antiquated Asian parent, but as Asian parents that I know and I love and that have been here, that speak English to me in the house, and and the difference between being Chinese American born, which is like me and my best friend, he was in Virginia, we're very, very American. And my other friend June, who's a Korean immigrant, meaning his parents are in Korea, that is a totally different childhood upbringing. But to have them as best friends, not related, not this same thing, but it's on background, it's so cool to me, because I think that an audience is ready to sort of receive that, and they'll accept that.
Definitely.
Because it just is just like, they've been here their whole life. Vincent was born here, and I'm just, I think an American audience is ready for not just a Korean story, not just an immigration story, which I think are very, very important, but I don't think that's sort of my part in my like sort of filmmaking space. I really want to tell Asian stories. I'm really especially interested in Asian female stories. So I am like, anytime there's a book or anything or an article that's interesting that you love, please send it to me.
Okay.
Gosh, I feel like Nicole Chung, I just picked up a book from her and I'm really excited to read it because and so that's my next thing down, is chasing down that IP, chasing down stories that people have poured a lot of time and energy into, and seeing what I can do and being a collaborator and hopefully a safe space and somebody that people are excited to collaborate with. And for me to act in and be a part of, to bring some of these stories to a different form, from article to movie, from novel to movie, from novel to TV show. I think that's sort of where I'm most excited. All the while I've still auditioning. Today I've got
like crazy.
couple auditions that I'm doing. Oh my God, I feel like I'm in my FBI. This is my FBI shirt. I'm like for
FBI.
a young agent. Yeah, I know, it's so funny. I'm like looking at my shirt. So that's what I'll be doing later.
Hey,
after
it's
this.
very FBI vibes. Don't worry.
Exactly. So all the while I'm still auditioning for other people's stories that I find really, really cool. I want to collaborate with.
But yeah, it is good that like you're like making a difference. You're turning like regular stories that we hear about and like showing it to people, like a wide audience, where more than half these people probably don't even like find these stories like in newspapers or like actively Google it trying to like read about it. So like you doing that and putting it on screen is just gonna reach more and educate them.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you had an opportunity to go back in time, what would you tell little Nicole Kang? And is there a piece of advice that you've ever received that you hold on to?
I think trusting your voice, trusting that like gut instinct. And I would tell little Nicole that all of her spunkiness and all of her rebellion and all of it, she's about to carve a really difficult path, but like it is I'm so proud of her for how honestly radically just confident, and just her zest and for life is how important that is. And though she doesn't always fit into these puzzle pieces, it's okay because it sparks a thought in her. I still have a soft spot, and I still really take like bullying very seriously. Those things to me, I'm like, it's like a personal calling, right, that I've put upon myself, that I won't stand for bullying, I won't stand for that, but those all come from like me being just this radical activist in my kindergarten. And I think I've always done that with a huge sense of humor and a huge a huge personality. And I think that's something that I've gone through my life, and I've either questioned, tried to quiet, wish it was different, whether it was on the outside or the inside. And I think that's like a journey that I was always going to have to go on. But a part of saying what you want, and a part of calling all of that in, is a part of you telling yourself and your inner child that you are listening. And that's really important, because if you are not even listening to that voice, then you're going to stray far away from, yourself. And I think that alignment, even in little things like, what do I want to eat today? Am I hungry? Am I servicing? Am I nourishing myself? Do I feel good? oof, I'm tired. What am I going to do? What is important? And as long as you have those little lamp posts along the way that are like, ding, I want to do that. Ding, I want to do that. We start a loop within ourselves that, oh, I listen to myself and my voice matters and I trust my voice because I am right and I have the ability to to make myself to be self-sufficient almost in a way. And it carries into all things. I also think it makes us less judgmental of others. I think if you're okay and you know exactly why you make the choices that you make in your life, when somebody makes a different choice, you're only just an observer. You're not you don't have to take it on as if they've made the choice for you, unless you're not listening to yourself and you're forced to look around you and measure up and to see if I'm doing right. Well, he has a house, so should I get a house? And well, they've got a kid, so do I want that family unit? And I think sometimes the way that we're socialized in America to try and fit in,
yes,
really disturbs that loop. And I think that communication with ourselves is essential to growing up and to being out here where really there are no rules,
so important to listen to yourself, because there's just so many stereotypes, or like the American idea of how you should have kids by what age, marry by what age, your
But also
career,
those
like
things change, right? Those things change.
yeah.
And I will say, like, the best piece of advice, just knowing, okay, this is the best piece of advice, because if you ever get a piece of advice, just know that any advice that anybody gives you is a reflection of their own life. And just be careful to just like eat the fish, spit out the bones, meaning like take them seriously, consider it, and throw out what doesn't work for you. Because whatever I tell you, it's just simply a projection of my own life onto you, onto your experience. And, take what helps, because there are some things that could align and could really, really quell your spirit and help you in a moment of need. But I think the scariest part in all of it is choice, is that you have to make the choice for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think sort of we all need to just be more comfortable with sitting in the, I don't know, sitting in the, this is really hard. This is a really hard puzzle. And I don't know. So I'm gonna have
difficult.
It's just
difficult. You just gotta learn, but like it is so difficult.
Yeah, we just want algebra to stay in algebra class, and English to stay in English class, and this girl group to be our best friends forever, and for us to go to college and then learn a skill and then immediately be put into that job, and because that makes us feel okay, I know I have another goalpost to head towards. But just make sure that lamppost or whatever, that next guide is coming from inside of yourself and not outside. That's it.
Yeah, there's so many external like pressures from like your family or friends, or just even yourself in general, that you're like, I have to meet this goal by this time. If I don't, then what am I gonna do? Like, just being in the gray is,
of course. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, deep questions done. We're just doing like little quick fun questions now. Yes. So like, I like to call this the badass questionnaire. Is there a playlist or a song that is always like, that always puts you in a good mood?
What's the song that's on my, what's so funny? So I became friends with a songwriter and a singer that I actually like loved before. Her name is Sinead Harnett. She,
familiar.
Yeah, she's an R&B singer. She's Thai. She's half Thai. And hi, Shar. And she has an album called Ready Is Always Too Late. And now I'll put it on and it's like familiar. It's like my friend singing to me. So I'll say her.
Love that.
Yeah, and also like we should talk about Asian R&B artists. So her.
Okay, next one. What's a mantra that keeps you going?
A mantra that keeps me going. I don't know, just keep swimming. A
I love
mantra.
that.
Oh my gosh, do I have a mantra? Just fucking wake up on your first alarm. I don't know.
You know what?
Um,
I probably should have that because
yeah,
I snooze my alarm so many times. It's
I know,
horrible.
fuck, I know.
I
I
get
don't,
yelled at.
gosh, mantras. I don't know. Mantra.
No,
Yeah,
nothing. Just keep
yeah.
singing.
Do I have a mantra? Sure, do I have a mantra? What do we say? We're just like, I don't know. Some of the things that we've said, like what is a mantra? I don't know.
have one yet.
I'm too chaotic to have a singular.
Okay.
I
I
think
will be coming back to that in a few years and asking you.
okay, keep going.
You better have one next time I ask.
I
The last film that you saw at the movies.
Everyone should see it. Tell your whole speech class. Triangle
Okay.
of Sadness.
Wait, we almost had I think we had a free screening for that, but I missed it.
Okay, well, so now you're gonna have to go to
So
AMZ. and
I
pay for
definitely
it.
have to.
Yeah, you
now I have
go.
to.
You have to go. $5 on Tuesdays. Go.
That's true. Okay, your favorite curse word.
Fuck.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
If
good one.
you were able to do a biopic about your life, who would you cast as you?
Because I'm a narcissist. No.
You cannot pick you. Last time I asked Bridget, she's like herself. You cannot pick you.
Trying to think of like a young actor that I really admire. There's so many. You know what? One of my good friends, she's like 10 years younger than me, but I love her. Momona Tamada. I love
Oh, yes.
she's right now. She was in the Babysitter Club. She's like so cool and great and talented, and I love her.
I could actually see that. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
right? I love her.
could see it. Yeah.
Or an actress that I haven't met yet. I think, I don't know, whoever wants to, I don't know. Let's see how
Whoever wants to.
Okay. Let me read the script first.
Okay. If you could put together a dream team of actors to be in a film for you to produce, who would you want to be in it? And yes, you can say Lucy or Sandra if you wanted.
Okay, so Sandra always, I don't know, like Woody Harrelson. I really Triangle of Sadness is on my mind. I love Woody Harrelson. I was just talking about Laura Dern, who I freaking love.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I heard a TED Talk with Ethan Hawke, and he was so
Wow.
cool. He talked about life in such a cool way. So thinking about him, probably like Daniel Kaluuya. I really like him. Keke Palmer. I just saw her. Keke Palmer.
Amazing choices.
I feel like we need some laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know, how big is this movie? How big is this budget?
As big as you want.
I know, right? Yeah. Gosh. I was like, who's in my deck that I want to be in this? I really like Justin Min. He's in the Umbrella Academy. And then and speaking of like Umbrella Academy cast, just get them all in, like Elliot, Marin Ireland. I just have so many actor crushes, to be honest. I really, but then Colin Farrell. There are some incredible actors. Also, I just saw Decision to Leave, so Park Chan-wook has to direct. I've just seen some amazing movies, some international, like superstar level talent, and I just think the world's getting bigger. So I really love that Bong Joon-ho is directing a movie in London. He's directing Robert Pattinson, who I love. Also, add him to the list. Willem Dafoe, add him to the list. But I just think that's so cool that hopefully our world becomes smaller and language doesn't become a barrier, and we can all sort of co-collaborate with each other. So
Which I feel like that's where we're slowly getting to with all like
oh,
the exposures and everything now with Netflix and
yeah.
Hulu and
Nicole Kidman,
oh
they're
my
in
gosh.
Hong Kong shoot.
Yeah.
I just think I think wherever they are, that's where I want to be.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Your cocktail of choices.
My cocktail of choice is, you know what? The truth is I don't really drink.
Ooh, actually,
I
same.
do
I don't drink either.
yeah, I am a pot smoker, so maybe like something infused with THC. Like
Okay.
lemonade. I love lemonade.
Lemonade. And then finally for this questionnaire, a badass woman is
Fearless.
have to be fearless. Any woman who's fearless is badass.
Viola Davis, like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, she's like definition badass woman to me.
Okay. And then on to a this or that round.
Okay.
Early
Yeah.
riser or night owl?
I
I would
wish
say night owl.
yeah, I wish I was an early riser, but I am a night owl.
Horror or romance?
To watch, romance.
Pants or a dress?
Pants or a dress? Pants.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
TV or film?
I
You
know.
can also have sweet and salty, like for
Sweet-
ice cream and stuff.
Sweet and
so.
salty. Sweet and salty I love because I always have like a bag of gummies in my bag, but like I
Yeah.
always reach for like pretzels
Oh yeah, definitely.
or like a
Or
chip.
like I always have chips or like
Or
Reese's
hot
with
sauce.
me.
Hot sauce, right? It's like, is it sweet or is it salty? Because it's like technically there's sugar in it, but it's like
Mhm. It's a
so-
combination.
Tapatio is my answer.
TV or film?
Oh,
Gotta choose.
Film.
Okay. East Coast or West Coast?
overseas.
Wow. Throwing it for a loop there. And then just my last few questions.
Okay.
I know like in like one of the interviews you had with Stephen O. Young, you guys were talking about how your dad works at NASA. And I realized that you're friends with Coral from For All Mankind.
I am.
So I was wondering, did you watch the show?
Yeah, dude, I went to school with her and I spent a lot of time in New York with her. And now I think she's in LA a lot of time. So yeah, no, I adore Coral. I think it's so cool. I think For All Mankind is so cool. It's really cool. I think it makes like the space race or space like cool, and that's important. And again, like it's a Tom Cruise and Top Gun, like that makes the Navy cool. Cool. I think it's really I think it's really great when entertainment meets like shedding a light on a career because like you should know like the kids that are going to be like, hey, I want to work at NASA. I think that keeping that alive is cool.
I feel like it's like a really good topic to explore because it's like, what if we actually stayed in the space race and like everything became so progressive like that?
Exactly.
Makes you question. And then you were announced for Apocalypse Star Fairy.
Oh
for next year. How excited are you?
I'm so excited. I'm excited. I'm booking my flights. I really love the UK. That's the one in the UK, right? I really love it. I've already just like, actually there's some fans that I've only gotten fan art from that said for the first time I'm going to be meeting them in the UK. So like that makes me really happy because a lot of my shooting was during COVID and I didn't get to like meet as many fans and like be in San Diego as often as I can. So I'm really, really excited. I'm going to do the whole thing. Hopefully on panels. I'll be there with Megan Tandy as well.
Megan and Jay.
Exactly. So we're all gonna be there. And then Wallace is like sort of like one of my best friends from this show. And even though she wasn't there, she was there really briefly, but she lives in the UK, so she'll be so it'll be great. It'll just like a huge
it'll be fun. It'll be like a friends weekend.
I know. So hopefully I'll make a cool thing of it. And I'm gonna like stay at like where the event is and stuff like that. So I'll be able to like see people out around.
Exactly. They're probably gonna be like, trying to look for you guys and all
Yeah,
that. Because
exactly.
when
I
I
know.
went to the last one, that's what happened. People were looking for the
I know,
celebrity.
I know. It'll be a
Yeah.
trip, but you know what? We're all in it together.
Okay, and then last but not least, what does your future hold? Are you going to be producing like more films, which we kind of talked about?
Yeah. Hopefully like all of it, right? I'm just like greedy for myself. I
Yeah.
hopefully all of it because I just think it's not all like a straight line. So, and I feel like your life goes in seasons. So sometimes I'll be more heavily acting like I was the last 3 years and less heavily writing and producing. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll do this. Sometimes I'll be hopefully, especially in the next 2 years and midterm elections, everybody remember to vote. In the next 15 days. But like when those years come up, those are not equal to other years. Like I'll definitely be I want to get more involved and encourage people to vote. I think a good voter turnout is so essential. So it just really depends. It goes in seasons. So hopefully just more of more and I will be able to just connect with more people because that's ultimately what I want.
Love that. Love that. And do you have any new projects that you could, tease about?
Yeah, so I've got another movie that should be announced here in the new year, probably maybe around February, March, but that I'm really, really excited about. So yes. So it's gonna be a comedy, it's gonna be great. And yeah, and
Comedy.
so I'll hopefully be able to do that, which I'm really excited to just get into. Yeah.
That'll be so fun.
Yeah.
Like that'll be so different to some of the stuff that you've done.
Female
So,
group, yeah, a female writer director, a great girl gang, which
love
I'm
it.
always just down to support and do, but yeah.
That's exciting. Thank you so much for doing this. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much. Thanks for reminding me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Of course.
Liv. I will
Thank you.
let me know how it goes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.